All right, let's move to this as well. The International Child and Youth Care Professionals Week is observed at the beginning of May each year. Advancing the professional development of child and youth care workers is then, of course, for 2023. But here at home, an online summit was held to focus on the challenges facing the profession. To discuss this even further, we're now joined by Donald Nghonyama from the Professional Board for Child and Youth Care Workers. And Donald, thank you so much for your time. A pleasure having you this morning. Let's talk about some of those challenges which were tabled at the summit, which I'm sure are experienced every day. What do they include?
Thank you very much, and I appreciate to the viewers for and also eNCA for giving us an opportunity to share in the celebration of the Child and Youth Care Workers Week, which is an international celebration. We opened the Child and Youth Care Workers Week by having the third summit, which was held by the Professional Board of Child and Youth Care Workers under the South African Council for Social Services Professions. And the council holds two boards, social work and child and youth care work, and I chair the Professional Board for Child and Youth Care. Child and youth care is a growing profession in our country. And there are a number of challenges that have been experienced over time. And as we use the time to reflect and celebrate the child and youth care workers, as well as appreciate the services that we provide to children, to vulnerable children and at risk. We also reflect on the challenges and try and get the different stakeholders to assist us in addressing those challenges. And they include the child and youth care work has not really received a full recognition.
Right.
When you look at the child and youth care workers working in government, for example, there is the occupational specific dispensation, which we call OSDs, which has never been made to be part of within the other professions.
Right. Donald, if I may just ask you about also, the issue around corruption and how problematic it is. How much of a concern is it for you that it seems that corruption remains pervasive and detrimental to the progress of this country, the work that you put in as, an organization focusing on child and youth care work?
Corruption plays a very big role in our work. Many of the organizations that are offering child and youth care work services get their funding from government and from the private sector. And if there is corruption, it means that the money that should be going to children, families, and youth who are very much in need are not able to get those services because the money has been directed somewhere else where it is benefiting the few individuals. And we have been following on the issues of the national lotteries, for example, where a lot of money should have gone to the organizations that are saving the children, and that money has not reached the children. They ended in people's pockets. So that becomes a very big problem.
Yeah, and also I can imagine the direct impact then it has on the children and the youth. What are some of the challenges they then have to endure because of the consistency of that corruption in our government, in our country? What's the direct impact been like?
We have had many organizations closing doors. These are organizations that are saving children and save children who are future leaders of our country. And we also have a number of organizations that have complained, and it was on the media, we have not received their salaries. And some of these organizations are funded by government. And I am not saying that they have not received their salaries because there was corruption, but of course there has been some challenges in the way the money is disbursed to organizations. And those grants, we all need to understand that if those grants are not disbursed on time, child and youth care workers are affected. It means that they cannot get paid, services cannot be provided to children. And that is an injustice to our country.
Yeah. Donald, I mean, just my last question to you before I let you go. What do you think can be done? Some of the interventions that you think can be sustainable, tangible, practical to stop, this impact to young children that we're seeing due to corruption, to stop corruption in its entirety. What do you think can be done?
Talking of corruption, I think that the law enforcement need to do their work. And those people who are aware of corruption taking place, wherever it's happening, it needs to be reported. And I think it's time that as citizens, we also stand up and be responsible and understand that if you get involved in corruption, you're not only hurting yourself, the people closer to you, but it's affecting the development of our entire country. But we also call on everyone, just like we said in our summit, that we need to advance the profession of child and youth care. We need to open up opportunities for people to study further in universities. And we need to respect them, because without the child and youth care workers, children in child and youth care workers and child and youth care centers and community and schools will suffer. And we don't want further suffering happening. We are experiencing that, seeing that every day. And we must all be committed to the development of this country.